Hi guys, Brittany Lake here. I'm jumping on and I wanted to discuss with you a topic that I've been seeing going on in the group as of late. There's been some misunderstandings going on and it's really hanging a lot of people up in their intuitive weight loss journey. So I wanted to jump on today and kind of demystify some misconceptions. What am I trying to say? I don't know. It's Monday, you guys. What I'm trying to is straighten out your understanding, the difference between intuitive eating and intuitive weight loss, because they are different things. If you're jumping on and you're watching, say hi. I'd love to see how you're doing. Hi, Angela. How are you doing today? Awesome. Angela, maybe you can help us with this. Today we are discussing the difference between intuitive eating and intuitive weight loss. Do you see a difference between those two concepts, or are you unfamiliar with that as well? If you have any question on that, I would love to hear so I can help make this make more sense for everybody else watching too. But since we've worked together directly, I'd love to know your thoughts if you want to share. So for those of you that don't know me very well and you're watching, my name is Brittany Lake, and I have lost over 70 pounds learning how to eat intuitively. And I also have been an ex-yo-yo dieter most of my life. I've rebounded lots of weight throughout my life as I've tried various diets, and I was a food addict before I found this way of eating intuitively for weight loss. Angela says she's unfamiliar. Okay, so I will educate everybody a little bit on the difference, because I find that people in the group keep lumping together intuitive eating with intuitive weight loss, and because of other information that's out there on the web, it's causing them to get a little hung up in their intuitive weight loss journey, and then they get confused, and when there's a conflict in their understanding, they tend to give up when it could work. But intuitive weight loss is something that I own. This is something that I have created because I didn't see that there was something out there like this out there, exactly as I understood it. And I wanted to teach this the right way that has worked for me and has been working for my clients. So it is different, though the concepts are similar. The recommended reading list that I have in the group, those are books that are similar to the approach that I teach, super similar. But their philosophies are going to be slightly off track from what I believe and understand. And so there are differences. But I give you those resources as evidence that this works, that eating intuitively or hunger-directed eating will bring you back down to your body's natural weight. And there's lots of books out there like that. But people teach it differently. And so intuitive weight loss, this is how I teach it and what has worked for me. Other books that I have read, they're really, really great, but there's something in their philosophy or something in their approach that will get you slightly off track, and I ran into those problems in my own weight loss journey as I read those books. It took me over 4 months of trial and error eating intuitively and reading over a half a dozen books on this topic before I finally figured out what I needed to be looking for, what's working and why it's not working, and also through the mindset of someone with a food addiction. And that's the difference there. And each of the recommended reading books that I have given you in the group, they're not necessarily going to give you everything you need, which is why I came up with this group, Intuitive Weight Loss. If you've come from the background of intuitive eating and that world, you know that world, intuitive eating, I use quotes around that because Intuitive Eating is a book. It is written by a couple ladies, and they have their very own philosophy around intuitive eating. Though in intuitive weight loss, we do eat intuitively because you can't trademark that. This is how God designed our bodies to eat, to manage our weight. But there is a book called Intuitive Eating, and they have their own philosophy around this topic. It's a great book. Not knocking these authors at all. Super great book, but they are very anti-weight loss. And they have a good reason for that in their own philosophy. Their understanding comes from working with women with eating disorders. And someone with an eating disorder is in a different place mentally, emotionally, than someone who has a food addiction and needs help understanding how to work through that. Also, so with that background in mind, they have found that it's not good for someone to focus on weight loss while they're trying to learn how to eat intuitively. That's their philosophy. That's their opinion. It's just an opinion. And my opinion is different. My opinion is that you can eat intuitively for weight loss as your goal, if you're in the right mental and emotional state for that. If you have an eating disorder, I highly recommend unfollowing all weight loss groups and reading Intuitive Eating, and maybe working with someone trained in intuitive eating as well as a therapist to help you through that, because when you have an eating disorder, it really warps your perspective and your understanding of things. So I highly agree with that. My philosophy is targeted towards those with a food addiction and major self-sabotage around weight loss and losing weight, because that's what I came from. That's my background. Is that making sense, Angela, if you're still watching? And Intuitive Eating was not the only book that I read along my journey. In fact, the first time I read Intuitive Eating book was in 2010, after my worst rebound after a diet failure. This was HCG. It was all the rage back in 2010, and I started at 170, wasn't even that overweight at the time, and I lost 30 pounds, got to 140, the lowest I had ever been in my life. And that lasted like 2 weeks before the weight came flying back on. I rebounded so fast after that diet. I gained 60 pounds after the HCG diet, after that diet failure, because it was a restrictive diet, you guys. I didn't know anything about that. And I had to go into counseling because that diet messed me up so bad. So bad, I was afraid of food. I couldn't stop eating. I was binge eating, and I couldn't stop. And so I went to try to get some help for that. And I did. I saw a therapist for many weeks, and it was helpful. And he introduced me to the book Intuitive Eating, which was really great. It helped me understand that dieting was bad. Don't diet. Don't do it, because that's why I was in the position I was in, because I was binging. And that was because I was in such a highly restricted diet. It was 500 calorie diet a day. It was horrible. And I've talked about it a lot, but like, I would walk around like a zombie, totally hungry all the time. I would pray and ask God to help me not eat food when I was hungry, while my stomach was like growling. And I'm sure God was thinking, Brittany, just eat the food, you're hungry. But I was trying to adhere to these diet rules in the HCG diet to lose weight. So I was totally messed up in my thinking. Elizabeth says, yes, I notice people choosing intuitive eating and giving up on losing weight. Let how you show that we don't have to choose between the two. Yeah, it just depends on where you're at mentally and emotionally. Hi, Amy. Thanks for watching. And yeah, so back to my story. So I went into counseling to get help with that. This was 2010, 8 years ago. I was 22. Angela says HCG messes with me too. Yeah. And they had me start reading Intuitive Eating book, and it was great. It was wonderful. I was working with a dietitian too to help me, and I was asking them to help me stop rebounding. My weight was going up so quickly. I asked them for help with that, and they told me that eating intuitively, that actually might gain weight, and that was going to be okay. And that didn't really sit well with me. I don't think that that's okay. But they didn't give me any sort of structure. They just gave me the book and said, listen to my body and all would be well. But they didn't give me any resources to help me with my food addiction. And that's where the division is. They give you great tools to help you try to get away from dieting. Love that. They give you great tools to help you understand why that's not going to work for you if you diet to lose weight, diet restriction, because that's what gets you into that mindset. But they didn't help me with my food addiction. And that's where my expertise in energy healing, in hypnosis, in tapping, and mindset work all come into play. That's why I developed intuitive weight loss for people like me who needed more. They needed another step up from that. They didn't just need food freedom. and to understand their internal cues. They needed to master it and have tools to help them overcome food addiction and overcome self-sabotage. And that's why I went to work and I put this program together and this group together so people could have a resource in place for them to come to when they need help through this. So that way they can have the hope of eating intuitively. And that food does come intuitively. But at the beginning, it was not intuitive. It was crazy because I had a food addiction. That was induced because of dieting. See where, am I making sense, you guys? Do you see where the line is between intuitive eating, where that stops and where intuitive weight loss comes in? Intuitive weight loss not only helps you master eating intuitively, but it also gives you the tools and resources necessary to break through food addiction, emotional eating, and self-sabotage. Ooh, lots of self-sabotage, right? And that's where intuitive eating book and that philosophy won't bring you. It won't bring you that other side because they are anti-weight loss. I'm not trying to bash intuitive eating. I hope that book is super healing for so many people. But I needed more. But the reason why I keep it on the reading list is because it describes exactly what it is. We eat intuitively, we listen to our bodies, and it shows lots of great evidence why dieting doesn't work. And that's why I leave it on the recommended reading list. If it gets too confusing for people, I may take it off. I may take all the recommended reading books off and come up with something else to help people. But I leave it there because I want to show you all different resources that give evidence behind these principles, that they work. Intuitive eating, there's another word that might be better if you don't want to get your philosophy mixed up. If you're trying to lose weight, you can refer to it as hunger-directed eating. We eat when we are hungry, and that's how we are managing our weight. But sometimes we've got to work through the food addiction mindset part of it. And that's what I do simultaneously in my 10-week program. I give you a 5-video module series to help you master understanding eating intuitively for weight loss, a hunger-directed approach. And basically, it's a fasting state in between your hunger cues. We don't consume food until our stomach tells us it's ready for food. And if you've come from a background of yo-yo dieting, you don't even know what hunger is. And I made sure after my worst diet that I never felt hungry for an entire year. I was too afraid. I was too scared because it was trauma. I experienced diet trauma. And through my program, I've helped others transition off of HCG and onto intuitive weight loss without them regaining any of their weight after stopping that diet restriction. It takes practice, but intuitive weight loss does have structure to it. Intuitive Eating, the book, does not have structure. They have the hunger and fullness scale, but it's still rather vague. My hunger and fullness scale is different, though it's similar in the concept that a fasting state is 0 and a level 10 hunger or fullness is a binge state. That's how it's similar. But if you notice, they're not exactly the same. I teach it differently. I help you find those little subtle windows at a level 3 hunger and a level 7 polite fullness that help you initiate natural weight loss. And it's not as vague and open-ended as food freedom, eat whatever you want. Because I did that after listening to that dietitian, after reading Intuitive Eating back in 2010, and I gained weight. I rebounded 60 pounds because they didn't help me. They didn't help me learn how to stop. And they didn't want to put structure around me because that's not their philosophy. And that's okay that they feel that way. But for me, with my background, with where I was at, I needed more. I needed more. That's why I felt strongly I needed to create intuitive weight loss. Before intuitive weight loss, I was an energy healer and a hypnotherapist. And I saw clients of all different kinds for all different kinds of reasons, and I loved it. But after I lost 70 pounds and broke through food addiction and self-sabotage around weight, and quantum leaped into this new reality of being naturally thin permanently, where eating was intuitive, and I was like the naturally thin, and I don't have to think about it anymore. It became my passion to teach other people this, and now I only do this. I use my expertise in healing modalities combined with mastering eating intuitively for weight loss, and that's what my 10-week program is all about. It's a combination of learning how to master eating intuitively and working through the emotional junk that we have that's stopping us from being able to do that. When I found my answer 8 years later, like, I didn't know how. I knew intuitive eating was good, but I didn't know how to do it. And they told me I could gain weight, so I wasn't really motivated to try that again. I regained 60 pounds, trying to do what they told me. But I knew I couldn't go back to dieting. And this was New Year's 2017. And that's when I prayed. And that's when I tried to figure out, what do I do? I'm at my heaviest. I can't cross my legs anymore. I can't fit any of my clothing. I have a whole closet with a full range of clothing, and I'm maxed out. I don't have any more clothes to wear. This isn't working, And I needed to change. And that's where the rest of my story picks up, that you might have heard before in the welcome video, where I prayed to know what to do. And that's when I knew that I couldn't do dieting anymore. I couldn't do it. And that wasn't the answer. But intuitive eating wasn't exactly the answer either. I was led through many different books along my journey that helped me fine-tune this approach, intuitive weight loss. Many, many books came together to help me fine-tune this approach, intuitive weight loss. And it's different. It's similar, but it's different. It's different. There is structure to it that you need to understand to know what to do on a daily basis to implement how to eat intuitively for weight loss. You can't just read the book Intuitive Eating and start losing weight. Some of you won't be able to do that. Some of you may gain weight. And that's where I feel like I'm doing a disservice sometimes, keeping that on the recommended reading list in the group, because some of you are only going to read that and then drop your efforts to lose weight because you don't have all the information. And so that's why I created also the free training Secrets of the Naturally Thin webinar, which you can find at bit.ly/Secrets of the Naturally Thin. I'll post that in the comments after that, after this video is over. bit.ly/Secrets of the Naturally Thin. Totally free training for you guys. So it'll really help bring this all together. And you'll start to see, okay, I'm starting to get it now. Why it's not just intuitive eating. It's more. But the concepts are the same. We eat intuitively. We listen to our body's internal weight management system, the physiological cues of hunger and polite fullness. But our vocabulary over what hunger is, what it looks like, what it feels like, and what polite fullness is, what that looks like and feels like, is different. And other people teach it differently. And through my own experience of losing 70 pounds and reading all the other books out there, I know where the hangups are. I know where the misconceptions start in some of their philosophies. That's why I've taken them out and rewritten my own. That's why I made intuitive weight loss. That's why I started this. So you knew exactly what you needed to do without having to hit the same roadblocks I did in trying to learn this on your own. So does that answer questions for people? Does that help you come up to speed with the difference between intuitive eating and intuitive weight loss? We can't lump them perfectly together. And these two worlds are very different. If you've ever looked online, intuitive eating is very anti-weight loss, and they won't help you lose weight. Intuitive weight loss will. That's the whole point. It helps you break through the emotional blocks that we have that make it difficult to eat intuitively for weight loss. And I help you fine-tune that approach to know exactly what you need to do. And to do that in my 10-week program, I give you those 5 video modules. I give you tracking sheets that are different than what you've seen, the hunger and fullness scale, a daily checklist items of what you need to be doing to not only understand the universal laws of being naturally thin and what that looks like, but also how to align yourself energetically with your goal of being naturally thin. Because there's a lot of emotional stuff there. We have to understand other universal laws like the law of attraction and the law of vibration, and to understand how to transform permanently. People don't address that. I've never seen anybody address this. But this is something I went through. This is how I've made permanent changes in my life, because I pulled all of that together. And now I've laid it out for you to be able to walk that journey. The reason why I did this is because I want to help get you there faster. I want to help you end your suffering sooner, so you don't have to go through 4 months of trial and error of consuming everything you can on this topic and trying to figure it out on your own. I've done the work for you. I've put all the stuff that works and left all the stuff that is BS, doesn't work, and I've left it out. So you don't even have to read it. You don't even have to worry about it. You don't even have to get hung up on that thing because I didn't include it like those other books did. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of people out there teaching something similar, but my approach is slightly different. But if you get slightly off track in your understanding, you can be going the wrong direction and hit some major roadblocks. And then you may quit. And then you may think, maybe this doesn't work. Maybe my body really can't lose the weight and get all the way to my naturally thin weight. And that just breaks my heart, because you can do this. Your body knows how to do this. But people teach it differently, and some people teach it wrong. And having been through it, I know where those loops are. I know where those hang-ups are. And in my 10-week program, I make sure that you don't get hung up on that. And that I help you, walk you through this so you can get there faster without the same roadblocks I did. So that way you can go on to actually living, eating intuitively, eating like a naturally thin person, being one of those people that everyone's jealous of, being naturally thin and eating French fries and not having a care in the world about the food and everyone's jealous of, right? That's what I want for you too. Being free. Free emotionally, free from the diet mentality, free to be able to eat what you want, but also within the perfect boundaries of hunger and fullness, where true satisfaction with food takes place. That's one of the most amazing gifts that I've gotten through this journey, is to actually feel satisfied and content eating till politely full, where I've hit that spot and I feel amazing. I feel great no matter what it is I'm eating, but because I've stopped at politely full, I don't get stuffed, or I don't even, it's so subtle. So subtle. From a level 7 to a level 8, the difference is so subtle. And if you miss it, then you miss out on that opportunity to feel content, satisfied, rejuvenated by the food you're eating. I love teaching this stuff. I love it. I could go on forever. We could be here for days, for 10 weeks. That's why I have my 10-week program, to make sure I transfer everything over from my brain to yours, so you can start working through this towards your ultimate goal of being naturally thin. And it takes 10 weeks for that learning curve to take place. And that support there is for you as well. Elizabeth says, yes, definitely helps me explain it to people, better to people. I've heard people say I did eat intuitively, but that's why I gained weight. Oh, like in the past, Elizabeth? Is that what people are saying? Yeah, people can get very confused if you start throwing those two words around. So there's the difference. And Josie Spinardi, I really like her book. Have Your Cake and Your Skinny Jeans Too. Gwen Shamblin, she teaches a religious approach around it. I disagree with her on some things, but they teach it really well as well. Both those books are about weight loss. Intuitive Eating book is not about weight loss, but if you're coming from a background of eating disorders, I highly recommend you start with that book. You've got to heal that first before you start thinking about weight loss. It won't turn out well. You've got to heal that first. Okay, does that make sense? Do you think I should leave the Intuitive Eating book on our recommended reading list now that you know the difference? Or do you think more people are going to get hung up on that philosophy as well and get distracted? Let me know your thoughts. I've been thinking about it too. I'm not quite sure. I just try to give you as much resources as I can, so that way you have evidence that this works and this can work for you, because I don't want you to give up on yourself. And if you want extra support, that's what I'm here for. That's what the 10 program is for. You're welcome to be in this group completely free and enjoy all the amazing free resources that I give you, like the Secrets of the Naturally Thin webinar. You really want to start there if you haven't already. It'll really help you bring this all together and give you lots of content on how to get started on your own. bit.ly/secrets of the naturally thin. Totally free. Really helps pull this all together for you. But if you're ready for the next step and you want someone to walk you through this and give you the healing tools necessary to succeed permanently, then that's what the 10-week program is for. And the next 10-week program starts August 13th. You guys, next Monday. It's going to be amazing. Every Monday night we'll have a group coaching call. Every Wednesday night we'll have a group healing session. And we're going to have a, what are they called? Partner teams this round. Daily accountability within partner teams to help you. You'll have tracking sheets, 5 video online modules, and all the hypnosis track, tapping tracks, and mindset tools you need to break through and succeed. So that way you can learn this and truly master it. So you can get all the way to your goal of being naturally thin. And you can sign up for that at brittnylake.com/program. It starts next Monday, you guys. You want to jump on that. And there's even a VIP option where you can upgrade to do 5 one-on-one sessions with me personally and get daily Voxer support with me, which means anytime you have a question or need support, you can send me a voice memo through Voxer and I can coach you back that same day and help assist you with where you're at, reframe your mindset, and get you back on track. Because I know where you've been. I know the obstacles you're going to face with this. I was a yo-yo dieter myself. Nothing else worked either. I had crippling fear too. I had it all. I had all the saboteurs. I had food addiction. I know what you're going through. And my intuitive weight loss mentors this next round, they've been through it too. And they've lost a substantial amount of weight already as well. And they want to show you too how to get through it. So Elizabeth, she is definitely one of our new intuitive weight loss mentors. If she's still watching, say hi. Elizabeth Josephson. And she's done amazing. And I'm excited for her to help assist mentoring this next round of women in the 10-week program. Because we can use all the help we can get, right? So I've invited a couple of the graduates of my program to come back who have lost a substantial amount of weight and made huge strides in their progress and in their healing, to come back and help mentor others as well. So there is that option. If you have been through the program and you would love to have more support and come back and go through it again, you can always do that, and that's at half price. So just reach out to me and let me know, and I can tell you what that would look like for you. But the group's for everybody, and we all come from different stages. But if you're ready for that next step and you want to quantum leap, you got to have the right tools, the right understanding, and the support necessary to do so. And that's what I'm here for. Hope that made sense. The difference between intuitive eating and intuitive weight loss. Totally different. But yet somehow they're like really similar. But if we get off track, we won't come back and we'll give up on ourselves. That's why I felt like I needed to make this video. I don't want anyone giving up simply because they're lacking in knowledge. So that's why I'm trying to come up and give you more knowledge and point you to directions where to go, where you can get more. You can start with this free training, bit.ly/secrets of the naturally thin. Start there. You know, if finances are tight, start there. Watch it tonight. Get that in your hands. Take lots and lots of notes. And reach out to me if you want additional support for that. The next 10-week program starts next Monday, August 13th. brittnylake.com/program. You guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.